So it is recording. We are officially recording.
Yep.
Good.
Do you want to start?
Yeah. So we're going to start. Hi, everyone. It looks like we've got 30 people on, which is fabulous. So this is our second official web users group. And we're trying to do this like 100% via Zoom. We didn't get a room. So I'm hoping this ends up being the way that we do it, just because it's super convenient and we're scattered all over pretty much the county now. So I've displayed kind of our agenda, what we're going to go over today, and I think you got the reminder yesterday. If you can, you're all muted, sorry. We have to do it, but if you want to have anything to say or comments, just open your chat window. Don't ask me how. No, I'm kidding. I think there's how do you do that? Just click around. There'll be an option somewhere for you to actually like open a chat window. Oh wait, Andrea is saying bottom of the Zoom screen. Thank you, Andrea. Yeah, at the bottom, that's how you open the chat. So we're gonna get going, and Rob's gonna give some updates on some projects that are happening. So go ahead. Hello, Rob.
Thank you, Teresa. Yeah, so I want to give an update on a couple of projects that are campus level in scope and likely will affect or there'll be things that you use in the coming months. The first one is a replacement for the campus events calendar. You've probably heard me talking about this in other places. It's ongoing. We do have a complete replacement. It's a vendor product that we've been working on now for about, I want to say 5 or 6 months. And it's a little delayed while we try to figure out how to organize users and groups in that system. It works a little bit differently than the current calendar. And so translating the user setup is a little bit more complicated than anticipated. And also one of my student who has been doing a lot of the data work on this project is gone for the summer. So I'm a little bit backed up with him out for the summertime. So I'm hoping that we get moving again in the right at the beginning of fall quarter. And we're hoping to have this new campus events calendar launched during the fall quarter. You'll hear more from us as we're ready to start training people on it. I'm really excited for it. I'm nervous because I want it to launch, but we still have to wait a little bit. So it's coming. I promise. It's coming.
On its way. Yeah. There might be questions about just that you'll get about how that would integrate with sites in the WCMS or how it would be utilized that way, but we don't know the answers to those questions yet, right?
Yeah, and I should say that is part of the plan, is to have it integrate with WCMS. Probably the most basic example would be the events listing box that can be on certain home pages. That might be able to be automated so that you don't have to do that manually by putting events in yourself. Could come directly from the calendar. That's something that we're thinking about and trying to plan for. So hopefully that works out, but that's development that still needs to be done. The next project is a campus mapping tool. And I don't necessarily want to say a replacement for the campus map. It could turn out that way, but what this project is it's I always have this weird way of describing it. It's a way of putting layers of information on top of a base map of the campus. And this base map of the campus is actually pretty cool. It's a 3D rendering of the buildings on campus, and it's pretty rad. I won't show it. I can't show it today, I apologize, but it's pretty cool. This company does these really nice 3D drawings of all of the buildings on campus and campus attractions too. So like we've got the wave rendered in 3D on the map, and the Porter Wave and other things like the fountain at Cowell and all that stuff. So it's a really rich base map. And then what we can do is give people access to build their own layers on top of that map that you can turn on and off and share with people. And that's the best part about this tool, is being able to give people the ability to create their own layers of information. And that has all kinds of implications. Like we could have a map layer for commencement weekend, showing people where to park and where to go and where the ceremonies are at and that kind of thing. Where in university relations, we're thinking about it for alumni weekend. We can show people where to go, and same thing, where to park. And then there's also just general information on campus, like parking information, bathrooms, all kinds of other stuff. So
we have a couple questions where folks are asking if they'll be able to, I guess once they create their own with their layers or whatever, embed it into their site, or even, link to it. So
definitely link to it. I'm not sure about embedding just yet. I'd have to look into that, but definitely linking to it. And when you link to something, you can actually set it up so that certain layers are turned on and turned off, and you're linking to a map that's showing exactly what you want it to show. Mm-hmm. That I know is possible. I'm just not sure about actually embedding the map in a site yet. So I can look into that though.
So I could create, just example, I could create a map of where, the astronomy and astrophysics, actual like office is, and somehow in there, like, say it's in this building, whatever. And then once I create that, when I link to it, it saves all that stuff that I did. Is that correct? The layering. Yeah.
If you had access to create a layer like that, I don't know that we're going down to the actual building room level, but if you had a specific type of information that seemed worthy, we also, have to be careful about creating a map with hundreds of layers on it.
Right.
For small things, we would want to try to keep it more constrained than that. But for anyone who was able to create a layer that, we needed on the map, they would be able to set up all the data points and you can draw shapes and all kinds of things like that. And then, you could link to it and it would show just those things.
So you could take the map, like maybe even not even adding a layer, but take the map and actually add like an element to it, like a little arrow with some text on it that says we're here or something like that. And
mm-hmm.
And then we have a question, will it be mobile friendly?
Yes.
So mobile responsive to devices. And then another question is, will it include the SVC and Delaware locations, like other than campus locations?
Yes, it will. The full 3D rendering is only the main campus and the coastal campus, Seymour area, and also one other place I can't remember. But you can access all of those places on the map. And if you created a layer and a layer had a point, in Silicon Valley or even here in Scotts Valley, you would be able to mark that point and have it show up in the layer. It's not like you can only create stuff in the main campus area. There'll be other areas too. But the renderings, the real fancy renderings, are main campus, coastal campus, and I have to look and see what the other ones are.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Okay, any last questions about the map? We're going to move on to the next thing.
And I should say we're working on that one and really trying to push for that to be ready for the beginning of fall quarter. Hopefully. And I would imagine that we'd be previewing it sometime in August.
Cool. All right.
I just committed to something, so now I'm like, whoa.
Yeah. Put it on your whiteboard behind you there, Rob.
There goes August.
Okay, cool.
Okay, last update is on something that I mentioned in the first meeting, which was what we're calling a light refresh of the campus website design. And that is WCMS sites, we're working with Rolling Orange, the company that did the original designs back in 2009, to do a refresh of the WCMS templates. Very lightweight refresh, something that we can flip a switch on really easily and not impact users or site managers like yourselves. You can see here in the agenda that the constraints of this project are pretty strict. We're trying to improve accessibility by improving the color contrast on the pages, so the difference in contrast between text and backgrounds and other things, so that it's clear what's a link and what's not. It's easy to read. We've always had some issues around that. I think the site as it is right now scores a little bit lower than we would want for accessible text. So we're trying to improve that. We're being really strict about changing anything that might make image sizes not work right. I don't know if anyone remembers, but a couple years ago when we did the mobile refresh of the WCMS sites, it involved changing not the aspect ratio, but the size of billboards. And so if you had old billboards, they were stretched a bit wide when we went live with that mobile refresh. This time, we don't want to do anything like that. Even though that was a minimal impact, we don't want to do anything like that. We're trying to keep the image sizes all the same, so we don't have to come to you and say, we're going to do this new thing and you have to change all your image sizes. We're trying to keep the impact to site managers at 0, so image sizes aren't going to change. The one other thing that we're looking for is how to lay some groundwork for a full redesign that's coming later this year. It might start before we even go live with this light refresh, but it'll start in earnest after that for sure. And that's meant to be a more broad rethinking of the site, from information architecture to the visual design. And we want to be able to transition from this lighter weight one to the full one as smoothly as possible. So we're thinking about it as we do this project now. And with all those constraints in mind, we're hoping to have this, I'm hoping for fall quarter, early fall quarter, but we'll see. I've seen a couple of comps. It's a little too early to show anything just yet, but it is moving along, and fingers crossed we'll have it ready for the beginning of fall quarter. It's going to be a busy August, I just realized. Yeah. There's a lot going on. But I will share comps and previews as soon as we have them and get feedback. And
there's no pink or purple, people, so don't even ask. Okay.
Yeah, I forgot the
no sparkles.
Perennial website joke is the beige is going away. Yeah, there'll be no more beige.
No purple tables, Becca. No, sorry.
No purple tables. I'm looking forward to it because it's, we've had the same general look and feel since 2009, and it's that's in internet years. That's like, I don't know, it's
a century.
Years. It's like thousands or something.
Years.
So it's going to be a cool refresh. It's going to be a cool update, and it's a matter of working through it and getting it right.
Yeah. Cool.
And that's it.
Awesome. Okay. So Rob, we're not sure how a discussion is going to happen via Zoom when everyone's muted. So yeah, that's going to be fun. So we are going to attempt to do this discussion. Yes, Andrea, people can raise their hand and maybe we can unmute them if they've officially raised their hand, or we could use the chat window, and somehow between the two of us, we will try to capture and answer questions as they come in and, answer people raising their hands. So we shall see. This is, you guys are guinea pigs.
I wonder if we should just unmute everyone. And
you want to try that? We've got 47 people.
So if you have dogs barking in the background, Yeah, I think what I'll do is I'll just unmute everyone, and then we'll we'll expect everyone to be good with their mute buttons.
Yes.
And um,
So we have a question from Asako. She says, in terms of ADA accessibility, I heard there was a way to have ITS assess our websites. That's a really good question. We used to have a tool that we could run accessibility scans on a site and it would give us feedback, but we no longer have a license, I think, for that, or there's something going on. And we're in the process of getting another tool. But I think there's even kind of free online accessibility scanning things where you can put a URL in and it'll go through and kind of give you basic stuff. In general, sites in using the WCMS score really, really well, because except for that color contrast, unless you guys have done naughty things and not captioned your tables and not given alt text to your images and that sort of thing. But yeah, so in the meantime, I think there's using online tools. I don't know if we have a tool. I
wonder if we should switch the screen view. Sorry, as we figure this out.
Yeah, we're figuring it out live.
Should we switch the screen view to like one of those ones where it's just kind of everyone, or maybe not?
Show thumbnails. I think you can show thumbnails, but I'm not sure how many people you can see. So yeah, this discussion I think is important with all these topics. And so I want to figure out a way for us to be able to, we can unmute.
Yeah, let's go cowboy, and I'll just
unmute. Go cowboy, let's just see. Try to see rustling of papers and dog barking and all of that to a minimum.
And we could remute ourselves, right?
And then you can remute yourself if you know you're for sure not going to talk.
Okay.
So I think that would work. So let's get to stepping, folks. So on this discussion. So the background for this is why you wanted to talk about this is Rob and I, obviously a lot of other people, but for web services, we kind of are always wanting to know how we can make your websites easier for you to update and maintain and display information in a cohesive and consistent manner across all the different sites. That's why we have the WCMS, because we have all these page templates and all that. So what we want to talk about is kind of what you have come up with as kind of burning things in your back, not burning, but like just things that you've heard kind of over and over that have been bugging you over and over for a while, that you feel could be better served with maybe a new page type or a little feature in the system that you've kind of been asking for. I have been tracking some things that I've heard from those of you who are bold enough and awesome enough to just let me know, kind of out of context of other things. But this is more just to discuss things where you think things could be better organized, where it's hard to maintain certain areas, or there's, you've noticed across different departments and divisions, the same information is displayed in a manner of different ways that you think should be displayed in a better way. Now, we're going to remove from this conversation kind of all the politics behind it all. We don't have power to answer all the political questions and things like that. But if there's something that we could use or do or create in the system, so technically, to kind of help address some of these things, we want to hear about that as well. For those of you who are online who are not specifically using the campus WCMS, the tools that you use, we could certainly, hopefully, be able to share that, and we could all kind of just do this cohesively. So that's a long introduction to all of this. And so we're hoping to, just kind of hear what you have to say. So I'm going to try to read chat. And if someone wants to raise their hand, you can unmute yourself, and then, we can call on you. First one we already have is Google Translate, is from Detmar. Yeah, that was one that you asked for a while ago, and Rob could probably speak to that a little bit better than I could, but that is very complicated, and it would require literal translation of your website in multiple languages, and maintaining those and having those maintained at the same time. So unless you had another, we wanted to talk about that a little bit more. I don't think it's something that we can implement, like in the WCMS. But I think, yeah, anyway. So Detmar, if you want to spend a minute or two on unmute yourself, you could, if there's more to that you wanted to talk about, that's totally fine.
There's already some really good comments here in the chat.
Okay. Let me see if I can get to my chat. My chat window is kind of buried here. Hold on a second. Let me. All right. Close all you blogs. Here. Okay. Would love to be able to share text snippets from other websites. Just like I can insert an image into my page from an external URL, I would love to be able to pull a block of text from someone else's website. This is because we need to be able to use consistent language between department, college, and advising websites. You have something to say about that, Rob?
It's hard. I can say that because we've thought about that too. How you would take a fragment of a page and share it somewhere else and then get live updating or dynamic updating, where if any of the text changed on the source page, you would get that change reflected on your page. The only way to really do that is if we started breaking content out into all into blocks, and then you would be able to select a block from another site, similarly to how news articles get selected for your homepage now. What I think is a solution is that if there is really important text, let's just use an example of like a table that has fees for a particular academic year. If that table just by itself was stored in a block on another site, then that might be something that we could help share across other sites, and you would just select that block and say, here's the cost of coming to UC Santa Cruz for this year. And anytime that changed, or maybe once a year it gets updated, and then that block, when it's pulled into another page, is always updated. That's the, kind of the ideal state of that. It would require working with both the information keepers and then promoting the function to site owners. It's something we could do. It would just be hard to do it with like any random text on any site. It would definitely have to be a deliberate thing where we're storing specific information and then making it available to others.
So it could potentially, another way would be where we have sort of like a library of authoritative content blocks that say, okay, here's you have access to this library, and this is the content block that contains the cost of attendance or the, so basically, yeah, like you said, kind of content that is owned by an authoritative source owner and only edited, but it can be plugged into other sites. So that is something that we put on the list for sure.
Have that understanding or feel like
I like that idea of having it. Oh, was somebody talking?
Yeah, I'm sorry if you were sharing. It was a little muffled. Was that? We couldn't tell who that was. Okay, sorry. We were kind of talking over you.
Yeah, no, I don't. It's definitely by no means like your sole vision is like what's the right answer or whatnot. But I think I guess more accurately, is like part of the DP role is to be the guiding force to always be pushing for that vision or kind of visioning the business. If that makes sense. So you're the one kind of holding the kind of the group together and kind of honestly holding it together, but being a driving force of like, oh yeah, that was what we're trying to do. How are we trying to grow this? How are we trying to give back to the campus and make our members better, have better content, and all that. So it's a lot of what you're already doing. I think it's just, I would love to meet in person, like a week or two, talk more about it and kind of think about how to best prepare. It doesn't need long. It's like we'll need on before you start.
Ooh, lots of background noise. So sorry.
Practice and do it. The more we can prep beforehand, I think there's tools like you went through the new producer training, which I think Ken and I implemented a lot of tools in general, but there's probably more that we can discuss. And so I just want to also just let you know that I think you know already, but anytime you need to meet or talk or to chat or just get advice on something, or just like, yo, I have no idea what to do, or get a second thought on something. Hey, reach out to me or that's in as well. There's other leaders.
I'm struggling to hear what.
Yeah. So, we have requests to kind of remute everyone, and or let's do this. Maybe we're not muting everyone, but if everyone could mute themselves, like just go in and actually just mute yourself. Then when it's time for you to talk, it'll just be that one person unmuting, if that makes sense, just because we're getting paper shuffling and keyboard typing and random things like that, which those things are actually louder than the person talking. So
I'm just going to mute everyone, but give people the power to unmute themselves.
That's great. Okay, good. So.
Oh, hold on, Teresa. That means I muted you. Okay, you're back.
Okay, I'm back. Okay, very good. Okay, so let me scroll back to
There's
the
a bunch of questions in here. Yeah, I want to.
Yeah, let's just
go in
make
here.
sure scrolling. Hello.
So when we were first talking there a minute ago about shareable blocks, that was in reply to Tony's question here. And
okay.
I think I want to make sure that we note that I liked your idea of maybe it's a separate site that's like shared content. And then blocks can be organized by, department or functional source or something like that.
Yeah.
And then they're just, they're agreed upon things that get updated once a year, and then they can be just pulled into other sites.
Yeah. I think there's definitely some kind of information gathering about that before, obviously we'll just kind of figure out we'll organize kind of how we would approach that and then kind of reach back out to you guys on that. I think that is something that we've been asked for years and years. So is kind of like, how do we get authoritative content on websites without people having to recreate and reduplicate all this information over and over and over again? If it's the same and it's the only, then let's just be able to share that. So yes, we will make a note that that's kind of high up there. We also have some pain points here, which are great. Thanks, Melissa, for offering these up. And I've heard, you're not the only one, heard this multiple times from people, multiple times. So course offerings across the year, program information, major requirements, department events and how they display internal events, weekly seminars, lectures, and all of that. And then her note was that these are not applicable for the whole campus because they're departmental. There's a lot in that comment. The program information, major requirements, I think Rob and I maybe even talked about it, is kind of one thing we were thinking of is maybe a new page type, a new template that's kind of a topic. It's like, here's a topic, and it's like, here's the topic, here's the, and then having different fields that are kind of a guided structure so that when you use that template for majors, a major or minor, that sort of thing, it ends up looking the same across all of the sites. So if I'm displaying information about how I get a major history, like that's all displayed and it looks the same as it does in math. And it looks the same as it does, so something like that. That wouldn't help with actual content. Like we could have maybe a sentence that kind of guides folks to say, this is what you should put in this area. But the actual content itself, of course, we're not, that's nothing that we would own, but at least it would kind of look the same and have the format and the same layout. So an incoming student or somebody can go from one, major description or requirements kind of page to another in another department, and it's displayed in the same way. So those are thoughts there, but yes, we'll make a note of that. So kind of maybe reach out about that. And then Rob, did you have anything to say else about that?
No, you covered it. Yeah.
So program info. Okay. Department events. I think that's something that's people have been asking for. And so Rob, with the events calendar, maybe we could take that note as
well, it's I remember this from a feedback session we did a couple months ago, where there are things that don't necessarily go on the campus events calendar, but should be displayed a little bit better, or maybe we can improve the way they look when they're included on a website.
Yeah.
Website.
And current course offerings across the year. So you're talking about like an academic, like, this is the full year. Because I know like right now we have the course catalog and the class schedule pages that display the current quarter and past quarters, but there isn't an automatic way to display anything in the future. The reason is because technically they don't live in AIS for quarter out, multiple quarters out. It kind of lives maybe halfway into one quarter, we'll get the information in for the next quarter, but there's not a way to do that across. But I know this is a need, and people do it differently across campus. They'll have PDF listed, they'll do Google Google tables that are embedded, and they display all of that. It'd be nice to have a standard way to display the year's courses. So, yeah. Did you want to comment anything else about that, Melissa, or?
No, I mean, you pretty much got it. I mean, I think the issue is like courses for the year change throughout the year. So, departments will submit the current course offerings in September, but, even by October, November, things for spring and winter quarter might have even changed. So I think just something that can always be up to date, so, student going and checking what's on the registrar's office, and for spring quarter in September, that information might have even changed. So finding a way to make it consistent and, for the departments, and also to be less confusing for our students who are already facing so many pain points on our campus.
Yeah, and this kind of all feeds back into that whole advising, just the advising issues for students in the departments. Just misinformation, can't find it in one site, it's very easy to find in another, it's too wordy in one site, it's so just that. And again, we're not here to, we can't answer the big advising question about that, but if there's a technical way kind of in a system that we could maybe facilitate that information a little.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not from the advising world. I just kind of feel some pains from different advisors in my departments that are constantly having to reinvent the same wheel of dealing with a solution to the same themes of the same problems.
Right. Yes. Okay.
I just want to acknowledge too that there's a lot of stuff in the chat, and I'm super excited that we can download it afterwards so we can read through it. So if we don't get to something you mentioned in the chat, Teresa and I will definitely read through this stuff afterwards. So feel free to leave all your thoughts in there, and that way we'll be able to come back to it.
Yeah. So let's just see how far along we are here in this chat. I think my chat window is just like, wait.
I just wanted to, the comment after Melissa is about images and thumbnails, and I just want to say we feel that pain.
Yes.
My goodness, do we feel that pain? There is a suite of tools that we've developed. I'm just going to pop the link in chat, and hopefully it shows up as a link. Cool. There's a suite of tools we've developed. One of them is for managing different image sizes and resizing images for use in the WCMS. It's got some presets for the different dimensions that of images that are in there. It's not it's not perfect because it doesn't allow you to generate like multiples, like someone's saying a full size or a larger size and then thumbnails. But it does give you some presets, and it's easier than I think going into Photoshop. Unless you know some of the more automated, unless you can automate in Photoshop. But that's one thing. I mean, it's just, yes, image management could be better.
Yeah, and the actual WCMS itself, like the tool itself, it doesn't really do this well, and we don't really have control over functionality like of what the system's capable of doing. We can add things, like we can add page types, and we can, you know, do templates and that sort of thing. But actually, like, I don't know how to explain that. Like a tool, like inserting a tool into Cascade, yeah, that doesn't really work. But like Rob said, we have, you know, external tools that we use, and most image management needs to be done outside the system anyway, because our system's not really meant to be to house and hold all of your images and every, you know, from full size down to all the little thumbnails. It only should be housing the images that are being used on your website. And I know image management, I've had questions about that as well. Like, where do people put their images? Where do I store them? What do I do with them? I have all these, you know, and so that's definitely a question and a need. But yeah, there isn't, Rachel, yeah, I think was your questions, it's definitely labor intensive to, you know, do all the image management. So, and the tool itself, Cascade, doesn't do that. So, yeah, so I'm just going to scan, take a second here. Screenshot. Rob, where did you put your link to your little tool?
I dropped it in chat.
I don't see it.
Somewhere. It's blue. It's blue link text. It's in there. Oh, wait. No, I didn't. Sorry. It didn't go to everyone.
You're chatting yourself again?
No.
Chatting with yourself.
Zoom newbie here. Okay, there it is.
Ah, very good. Web tools, UCSC/web tools. That's easy. Great. So we had questions about scanning. Yeah, so there was a question about kind of when you're like the college sites that have the same exact information. I think that's, so your question is how to duplicate or copy a page. You can copy any page, but you can't move it to a different site. So you can't say, oh, I'm going to copy College 9 page and I'm going to put it into College 10. I mean,
you
can, but
it's a giant pain in the ass.
It pulls over all of the other sites' configurations. So you end up with a random page that would have a page title that says, you know, I'm College 9, but you're in the college. It's just,
yeah, it's like
technically you can do it, but it's nothing that you could or should try.
It's like a puppeteer moving hands and crossing the lines, and it's puppets.
Yeah, it's janky. So yes, not a clean way to do that. Sorry. But again, maybe if there was a, you know, this site that has a library of content, and let's just say all 10 colleges had the same, you know, thing that they want to display. I don't know if that would answer it, but, you know, we could just say, oh, this is, you know, college information about such and such that could be then placed on a page and shared, but that's getting really complicated. Okay, so let me just scanning here. Yeah, again, comments just about course scheduling, the course schedule, class, class information, all of that information, an easy way to display that. Jennifer's asking if there's a broken link checker. The Cascade actually has a link check.
Where is it now?
If you go on your dashboard, the little Cascade logo, that's the main dashboard. There's a widget called Link Check or Link Checker, something like that. And you configure it to the site that you want to link check. And once you select the site, it actually will, check all the links and tell you which page and then what link's broken. And then you can click, those are actual links. You can go click to the page and actually go, okay, let me fix that link. And then you can mark it as fixed. And it's going out and so that's the embedded one in the system. And then if you manage more than one site, so let's say you have 7 different sites, you would just change the site and that link check widget to another site, and then it would, change all of that. So that's kind of the one in the tool. You can also, there's also one that we have that ITS provides. It's on our website. If you just go to the help site and you just, look in the search bar for a link check, we actually have a link information on how to, put your URL in and run a link check. As far as it being proactively, telling you, the one in Cascade is the one that's mostly on the dashboard, front and center, you have this many broken links, so that's the one that I would send you to. So that's the link checking. Let's see who's voting. So we've got people voting for stuff, and I haven't even read what they're voting on. Let's see here. I don't know what's going on here.
Ask one of the other questions, or should we just continue?
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, so Rob, where did we end? I'm sorry, we've got this. Oh my goodness, we have so many chats. There's a lot here, guys. I know. Let's see. Preview. Okay, sorry. Looking, Melissa, understood. Great. Becca, screenshots, resizing. Images. Okay, iframes. We had a question about that. Yes, you can embed things with iframes. Technically, yes. Should you? I think Rob might have thoughts on that. But that's what we use when we're embedding Google things. You're basically saying, I want to embed a Google spreadsheet. And so then you're basically copying that iframe embed code and putting it in the HTML or source code of your page. And then it just displays it. So yes, it works. And we are using that. Embedding other things, iframes from other sites inside, I don't know the best practices for that. And actually, if we want that, but Rob, maybe you can talk about that, the whole iframe thing.
Iframes should be used sparingly. They work for Google embeds for the Google stuff. Totally recommend that. For other stuff, unless you're being given code to explicitly embed on a page, I would avoid iframes.
There we go.
They get messy.
Yeah. I've seen it. I've seen this, and it's a little. It can look really pretty. Like someone's basically taking iframe of an entire web page, including the title and the navigation items and all of that, embedding it into another page that has its own title and nav items, so that you end up with kind of a web page and a web page. It's kind of like Inception, like where am I at? How do I get to, So yeah, I agree with Rob. Probably not so much. embedding that way. Content blocks would be extremely useful for academic calendar deadlines. Ooh, I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, how do we do that? I don't know, but that's great. We will make a note and follow up. Again, this could speak back to, that content, like a site that has, here's all of the calendaring for academic deadlines, and it's just content that we have in one place that people can just plug into or put on their homepage or inside another page somewhere. But I like that. Let's see. Sometimes different. Okay. Forms. So yes, we have a question about forms. So you can do forms. In Cascade, there isn't a form tool, but people are using, Google Forms and then embedding those. And then we also have a tool that we've offered to people on campus called Wufoo. And it's a really user-friendly, easy form builder that you can build a form, embed that code onto a page, and it doesn't even look like an embedded form. It actually just takes, and then there's extensive reporting in the background for all of that. So we get questions about forms a lot, and these form builders answer most of those questions. There are some advanced kind of form things that people want to do. Like with application background, with applications in the background and things like that, which we don't have that functionality right now. But so Terry, I hope that kind of answers questions. But yeah, we have Wufoo. We offer it out to anyone that needs it. We can build forms for you and create that stuff. Or if you want to use the tool, you can actually get a Wufoo account yourself, and then build your own forms and do all your own reporting and all of that. So definitely needing forms, and we have that for you guys. So yeah, let's see.
I'm scrolling.
Forms integration. Yeah, the like I said, the Wufoo forms, you basically, you can integrate it with anything. It doesn't have to be just WCMS. So if you create a form in Wufoo, I think you're grabbing embed code that can be put anywhere you need to.
Yeah, that's another case where an iframe is okay for Wufoo forms.
Yes, exactly. So so that should hope that answers your question there. So we got a lot of votes for thumbnail stuff, which I'll have to read through all the comments maybe after the fact. We'll look into that and see what's going on there. Auto thumbs. I'll make a note.
Yeah.
I think that's...
In Unicorn Lands, we give you some kind of drag and drop interface where you drop an image on it and it would auto detect faces and put crop boxes around faces and different...
I love Unicorn Land.
Unicorn Land is great. I mean, it's not totally unrealistic. It's just it's a little hard to pull that off, but ideally that would be great. Yeah, I totally hear everyone on image sizing, thumbnail creation, and image management in general. We
ask a lot of you in these templates that we've created. There's a lot of different sizes, so you really have to become proficient in image management, and that's just probably something you didn't necessarily sign up for when you were told you had to manage a website. But you're welcome. It's part of your life now. And so we'll try to make it easy. There are some easy online photo editors, like if you're not a whiz bang with Photoshop. I personally just straight up go to Pixlr and can do most things. I can do the cropping exactly how I need it to right sizes, and I can add layers and do that kind of stuff. But so you don't need like super expensive software if you don't have it. But and then Rob's, his web tools, that's cool too. That'll give you, billboard images and that sort of thing. So yes, it's painful, but it's your life now. So you're welcome. Let's see, standard page. Okay, so yeah, just a lot of talks about kind of that content across campus. Got a lot of votes for that. News and events. Okay, so Terry, yeah, Terry, I don't know Drupal, but Rob does. And if the regarding the news and events, I guess there's a
I'm not entirely sure how it works. I know
Yeah.
Tim has a thing that
there's a thing.
slurps our news content onto the engineering sites. That's about all I know about that.
Okay, so I'll make a note.
Yeah.
About kind of looking into that to see if it's
We'll
something.
look into that.
We'll look into that. Drupal/Tim G. We'll find out the magic he's done there, and it's something we can do. Oh, okay. So looks like Tim's not super limited or available. So we'll,
He's listening right now.
He's a new daddy. Okay, not sure. College. Okay, we already went through that one. Sorry, scanning awkward silences. I wish I had some elevator music I could play.
Dance break.
Does anyone have any advice about how I could record a webinar?
Off topic.
Yeah, that's check out media services. You can put a ticket in, Catherine, and just put it, and it'll get routed to our media folks. There might be a tool or something that we could give you some advice on that. So super, just email help@UCSC with that question, and then we'll route you to the right people. HTTPS. That project, we all
got gray hair.
It will never end and it will never close. Okay, there's a lot of things that are still out there that are HTTP. They should
kind of two questions. One is just the actual redirecting of stuff from HTTP to HTTPS. Most of that works. I think we're about 90% the way of having that work out. If you link to an image on another site, you embed an image on your site, and the URL for that image is another site, and that site is HTTP, there's a chance that that image won't load because the page is loaded over HTTPS, but the image is loaded over HTTP, and modern browsers reject that for security reasons. We can't do much about that. If an image isn't loading on your page, you'll have to go in and edit the URL because it's browser security, and we can't do anything about it. When we were just HTTP for all pages, it didn't matter. But now that our pages are loaded over a secure channel, it's some stuff's going to get rejected for security reasons. That's the best answer I have on that. Sorry.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So we have another comment about the WUFU forms. Yes, web forms should never have any sort of FERPA protected information, HIPAA, asking for any sort of credit card, it's not for that sort of information gathering. If you need to do a secure form. I don't actually know off the top of my head of some forms that you could use. I know they're being used, like if, accepting payment for things or whatnot, but I would be very, very cautious and frugal and, about what content your form actually is asking for. Make sure it's not private information. So thank you, Tony, for bringing that up.
Hey, Teresa, can we go back to HTTPS for a minute? Because I'm seeing Tony's follow-up here.
Okay, great.
One thing that we did do before we flipped the switch on that is do what's called a mixed content check. So we basically looked over every page, every published page, and identified the ones that had content that was being loaded over HTTP, which potentially could break once we flip the switch. we did that a couple of times and fixed as many errors as we could find. But I'm wondering, can we do that again and provide that list for people? Do you think?
Let's chat offline. Yeah, I mean, let's.
I guess it sounds
That's a good
like.
idea. Yeah, we didn't redo that, so let's redo that, and then we figure out how we would actually distribute that, because it's a lot. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. I had forgotten about that.
No, I think we had selectively deleted it from our memory.
So it was a little traumatic. Okay. Okay. So let's just scanning. I just want to be aware of the time. It's close to 11. We have another half an hour, which is a good amount of time, but we don't necessarily need to take the full 90 minutes, but let's just scan here. So the people that are putting comments in about things that are broken or that sort of thing, if those could just be, you just email that to help@UCSC, it opens a ticket and we can just troubleshoot that. I don't want to get into necessarily fixing things on sites right now, because we want to stay on this topic of discussion, that to kind of review things where you are wanting functionality, labor intensive things, inconsistencies for displaying information, feedback you've gotten, that sort of thing. So, and pain points for you. Let's see. Let's see if there's any. Rob, have you been scanning? I just want to make sure we're not missing anything. I think we might have covered, if anybody, if again, there's literally hundreds of chats in here, and we may have, we didn't talk about something in this discussion that we may have scanned over, feel free to unmute yourself right now or raise your hand and basically just chat, re-ask your question. Okay, so if we could create internal links to profiles instead of having to create external links.
I see. Share them like news articles, or sorry, pull them in like news articles. Get pulled into home pages.
So Steph, I might ask you maybe offline, maybe more about that. Create internal links. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what you're needing, and I think I probably want more information about that. Is there a list of who manages what website? No, but we have all that information. So and you're not the first person to ask that, but basically, I've been asked for this information in the past, where it's like someone comes across somebody else's website and they're like, oh my gosh, this is so outdated or incorrect or whatever, but they don't know what to do with that. So what I would recommend is, if you come across a website that has information that needs to be fixed, there should be a feedback form on that website at the bottom in the footer. That's what you would do, is you would just say, hey, this page needs this information, and then those feedback forms are generally programmed to go to a site manager, one of you guys, because I know you guys would all want to know, like, oh wow, I didn't realize that their link was broken or that information's out of date on my site. So use the feedback form. If it's something a little bit bigger than that, it's not a simple little thing, but you want to just have a discussion with another site manager about a site, just email help@UCSC, that opens a ticket with a question, and then we can get that information. We can just look up the website, look up the site managers, and then provide you those names. Not a problem.
Also, hi Barbara.
Oh yeah, thank you. Alessandra says necessarily it might not be called feedback form, or it might be just contact staff or department, whatever. So whatever that contact form is or feedback form, that's where I would start. But like I said, you could always email help and we could give you names. So yeah.
We possibly could pull a list of everyone who's in a site manager role. Is that possible? I guess.
Yeah, it is, and it's just it takes a lot of massaging. Trust me, and I don't know. It's I can look into it. I don't know if it's something you actually would all guys want to have a Google spreadsheet of the hundreds of site managers.
Hmm.
We'd have to somehow present that with like, it's this site is this person and this site is these 4 people and this site, so
Yeah.
have to figure that out. But yes, it's technically possible we could do it.
Okay.
Okay, so I feel like we're kind of fizzling out on this discussion, which is fun. And
Switch gears.
we should switch gears. So Rob is going to do a little demo in the new Cascade 8 version that we've upgraded to that makes captioning images better. So
I'm going to take this screen over in a minute.
oh yeah, let me stop sharing.
That's okay. I think I just
You took control. Do it. Awesome.
took control. Okay. And wait, hold on a second. Zoom just like put its little menu bar right over the top of my thing. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna shrink this down a bit. Okay, so first I'll say thanks to everyone who has been patient during this Cascade 7 to Cascade 8 transition. Everything looks totally different, and even I've been frustrated at times trying to figure things out. But hopefully you've gotten the hang of it, and there is this new way of putting captions on images that I'm happy for and grateful that is in the new version. So we're going to show that today. So I went into the Classroom site, which means that anyone who's had training and has access to the Classroom site can also, after we're done, come look at this page, look at how it works, and play with it, and copy it or whatever, and take a look at how all this stuff works. So I put a bunch of text on a page, and I'm going to now add a caption image to it. So let's scroll down, and I'm in the main content window, and I'm just going to click where I want my image. I think I want it right there before the 3rd paragraph. It's always important to just click right there so that I know I'm placing the image right there. I'm going to click the little insert thingy, choose a file. Okay, the recent thing is great, but I tend to go to browse.
It's kind of great, but it's not great.
It's great in a not great way.
Exactly.
It's great. I just tend to go to browse because I'm used to browsing. And one thing that's crazy about browse is when you're in this browse window, see when I hover over that, that's not an actual cursor. It is a cursor. It's a cursor thing. And I want a clicky thing like that. But even though it's a cursor thing and not a clicky thing, I can still click on images and then click again. And now I'm in a folder of images that I uploaded earlier. So I'm just going to select this one and choose it. And then I'm going to go to this advanced tab over here. This little guy right there. And have this new option. Use a figure and fig caption for this image. I'm just going to check that box. That's all I have to do. Click OK. Oops, I didn't get a description.
So this image description is now the quote alt text that you guys were used to adding.
Mm-hmm.
So that you'll see alt text and you'll see image description, and those are the same. So always put that in there. Yeah.
I'm just going to type something in there real quick. Click OK. And now there's an image in this thing, in this box. And it's wrapped in a figure tag. If you're familiar with HTML, it's a figure tag with an image tag inside of it. And then this caption at the bottom. I can double click on it.
And you see how it auto-filled with the image description that you just typed in? So it'll autofill with you know, what you put in there, with the way you can change it.
All right. So I've modified my caption, got my image in here. One thing I need to do is that this is just going to span this whole width here. Even though I've got a narrow image, I want my text to wrap around it, not necessarily only show up in the top and the bottom. And in fact, I think what I'll do is I'll just save this so we can see it. So all I did was insert the figure and the figure caption. And I'm going to hit submit, and we'll see what that looks like. Not want to publish. So here's what we've got. We've got an image with a caption. It's spanning the whole width here, pushing text beneath it. That's not quite what I want. In some cases, I might. So if this was a full width image, then that's exactly what I would want. So I would leave it. But in this case, that's a smaller image, so I want it to move over. So I'm going to scroll down again. I'm going to click on this, highlights the whole thing, and I'm going to use these alignment tools to move it. I'm going to move it to the right. And then that's all I need to do. Say submit. I'll take a look. Fingers crossed.
Look at that. Booyah.
There we go. So we've got an image with a caption, and it's aligned to the left or the right. What if I decided, I think I'd rather have it on the left. I'll just go back in here, click on that. You can see I've clicked on it and the right one is highlighted because that's what I've done before. So I'll just click on the left one instead. And by the way, this is my habit, is I just go in and skip over the save and preview and just submit because I just want to see the saved thing. And I do not want to publish. And now it's floated onto the left instead of the right. Super easy. I think captioning images was a pretty big deal before, and this makes it a whole lot easier than it ever was before. And the other thing I could do, what if I just want to put in another image? Same thing. I'm going to go down and I'm actually going to put it, let's see, where will I put it? Because this isn't a one-to-one preview of the article itself, I know that what appears in here isn't going to look exactly the same. So I think what I'll do is I'm just going to click right about here where I want this next image to show up. And I'll choose another one. I'll go and browse. I don't know what that is. That's what it also does, is it defaults to the folder where you're at. I don't know why. I'm just going back to images. Which one should we choose this time? Oh, here's a random image that I'll just choose. Call that bubbles. Again, I'm going to go over here, say use big and fig caption. Click OK. And it's somewhere. Oh, there it is. I'm just going to leave the caption as it is. I'm going to put this one on the right, and we'll see how that looks. Come on, thingy. Okay. All right, a little awkward sentence over here, but now I've got two captioned images. I was able to place them wherever I wanted inside my page. You can do this in news articles, any page, full width pages, anywhere you've got a WYSIWYG editor, you have the ability to put in captioned images.
Cool. Can captions be centered under the photo is one of the questions we have.
Ooh, I don't think so. Let's try it. What did I say before? The devil's in the demo?
No, it's a good question because people might want to have it centered. I don't know, but yours is
Yeah.
centered here.
Here in the WYSIWYG it is, but let's. Now, what did that do exactly?
What did that do?
Let's see what happens. I have a feeling it's not. Yeah.
Oh,
It's not, and I can look into why, but I'd have to look at that.
Yeah. So
There's
as of
both.
right now, no. But
Today, no.
as of, no.
Possibly in the future.
Yes.
And again, this page is in the classroom site, so if you want to go in and experiment with it, create one of your own. Oh, wait, what did it do? Now this is centered. That's weird. Okay. Got to figure this out.
Yes.
Why did that get centered? Not that centered.
I don't know. That's weird.
This.
See, you guys, you're not the only ones that have little fiddly, janky things happen to you. This is.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
This,
Now look,
you
so
ever feel
okay.
like, oh my gosh, why is this happening to me?
See what?
Everybody. You're all in this together. Things can happen. It's weird. There's things happen like that.
Yeah. Otherwise known as Thursday. This is what happens. Do you see what happens? So if I go in here and I select this text, which clearly says fig caption, and I change the alignment, it actually changes the alignment.
Changes for the thing above it. Wow. Yeah.
That looks like a bug to me. So yeah, for now we can't align the captions. They align with the image.
Yes.
That's weird.
So don't try to get fancy, people. No, I'm just kidding.
We got you images with captions.
That's right. I'm going out here. Let's see. Was there anybody have? I feel like this new version. We have the help site, which has millions of things in it, and it's constantly in flux and changing. And as I discover things in this new version, I'll go and change pages and all that. So really, when you ever have questions like that, or just go to the help site first, because it might be different than it was last week, the last time you went to it, because I'm updating things constantly in there. So go to the help site first to ask, to find out if what's new and what you can do on this captioning and anything like that. And then if it's not there and you're like, I really want to know, or can you do, then just email help@UCSC and we'll figure that all out for you. So there are still pages in the help site that aren't up to date. So just bear with me. Old screenshots. I'm getting.
I have a thing.
Okay.
So here's a thing that saves me seconds at a time, but in the aggregate, we're talking, probably days of my life. And that is that almost anything is right clickable.
Yep.
And you get this other menu. And I will do this all the time to publish things quickly.
Yeah.
You don't want to have to click over here, go to the page, go to the publish thing.
Yeah.
You can, I'm not going to publish this, but you can just right click, go to publish, the whole thing just pops up and you go. And edit the same way. I love going through here.
Yes.
And just doing everything from this menu here.
Yeah.
Totally recommend that. That's it. That was my thing.
For Mac, is it a control click? That's a good question, Rachel.
It is. Yes.
Great. There you
it's
go.
A control click, and usually you can configure almost any mouse or the trackpad, Apple's trackpads. You can configure it to be a 2-finger tap, and that will bring it up too. Yes.
So, okay. Well, I think, Rob, unless you have anything else, we can wrap it up here. Thanks for, kind of being flexible on this discussion / chatting / trying to mute everybody and unmute everybody. I feel like this might be the format going forward. So if, hopefully it's not too irritating. If you guys are I really want to be in a room, just, kind of give us that feedback too. It would be better in a room. We had 45 people, almost 50 people today in this meeting. There aren't many places on campus that can actually have that many people in it interacting. So I don't want to limit this meeting because of a room location. That's hence the Zoom meeting. I like Zoom, still learning it, but Anyway, so anybody have any last minute questions before we kind of end this? Angela, yes, Angela had a question. She says, Rob, this is for you, Rob. New campus design project. When viewed on a mobile device, our department sites are a long column of secondary info before getting to useful information like left side nav bar items, which appear at the bottom. Will the designers be seriously looking at an optimal responsive solution?
I'm aware of that issue. It's hard to say. I'm going to take note of that and make sure that we talk about it. It's hard to, responsive is hard, because basically once you get down to a phone width screen, you're talking about a tube of content, you know, a toothpaste tube of content. And so what order things show up in is kind of hard to figure out, but I see what you're saying about secondary info before. Although what we prioritize on mobile is the main content area of the page, navigation at the top, main content area, and then if there's any sidebars, they come last. That's the order that we would prefer it, because obviously you came to the page for the main content. But how you access that secondary content and how quickly you can get to it is something that I think could be better on the sites. So I hear you on that, and I will write that down to make sure that we try to address it.
So just a note about this. So we have recorded this. It's a long one, but so we'll do like we did last time. We'll probably just maybe upload it, make it a YouTube video, or somehow share it with you guys. I can't remember how we did that last time. And then also the chat comments, we get a transcription of those. So we might just, I don't know, create a Google Doc, and we can share that in our little Google Drive. And if you guys want to read the chats that came in, if you missed something, that would be a resource for you as well. So, and I apologize if we missed a comment that was burning in your mind. It was just a lot going on. So we'll figure this out as we go. So thanks everyone for joining us this morning, and we'll be doing this in another quarter or so. We'll figure out another date, and then we'll put it on your calendars and invite you. So okay, have a great
rest of your summer.
Yeah, that's right, rest of your summer. Rest before fall. So.
Bye everybody.
Okay, bye everybody.